So I was reading this last week, Ezekiel chapter 47, where he talks about how there's going to come a time when there's a new temple in Jerusalem, and from that temple is going to come a river. It's going to flow out of the south side, and it's going to go all the way down into the Dead Sea. It's a really incredible picture, and what it says is that this water that comes down into the Dead Sea is actually going to make it so full of life. There's going to be every kind of fish of the sea that you can see there, and there's going to be fishermen that are spreading their nets out on the banks, and it's just going to be so full of life. I've been to the Dead Sea, and it's dead. I mean, there's nothing that grows there. It's just so filled with minerals because there's no outlet. And it just made me think of when God has his river of life attached to some part of us. There he's talking about specific places, but the metaphorical illustration to understand is that when God has his river of life flowing into us, anything that's dead can be made alive. And that's what he does. That's what revival does, is it brings to life again that which was dead. So where I'm standing beside right now, you can kind of see this pit. This is at our International Ministry Center. We had a leak underground with our water main. And this is actually the second leak that we've had, and we're very thankful it is where it is because it's accessible. But here, what happened is that under the ground, somehow things had shifted over time, and the amount of pressure that was put on these pipes, it wasn't able to sustain it. So we had these leaks and had to repair it. And it just made me think, in our lives, sometimes where there's a lack of the water, of the living waters that Jesus says that he provides for us, if it's not getting to where it needs to go, it could be because there are things that are under the surface that are causing the pressures. And when that water's not getting where it needs to go, the things that need life again are not going to get it. Jesus designed our life to be with him, that his rivers of living water would flow to every part of our heart, our mind, our soul, our body. Now, some parts of our body are never going to fully experience this until we get a new one. Paul clearly understood that. The Apostle Paul, and he was still struggling with sin and challenges and was longing for that new day. We understand that. But for the areas that God wants to redeem and heal in our life right now, we have to make sure that the water is getting where it needs to go. And sometimes we have to dig things up. There are things in our past life, there are things in our present life that sometimes are just buried, and we don't realize that the pressure that's putting on us is actually restricting the flow of God's Spirit in our life and the ministry of his word getting where it needs to go. So it was just an interesting metaphor, and I want to encourage you with that. The biggest, most healing, most life-giving times of my life is when things have been uncovered. And oftentimes that was because other people were realizing that there's an area that needed to be exposed. And then the Lord would work and heal. And when he brings his river and his living water, it does bring healing to those places. I want to encourage you today, if you have parts of your life that are just not feeling restored and are not being redeemed and are not alive, I want you to consider to evaluate and ask, are there pressures and things in your life, maybe from the past, maybe now, that need to be uncovered? And if so, I want to encourage you to invite others that can help dig those out and expose those to the Lord and allow the true life-giving water of Jesus to get where it needs to go. Love you. Have a great day.